everybody. Welcome aboard and welcome to the world-famous Universal Studios tour. Welcome aboard, folks. Oh, let me fix that. Hey, girl, hey. My name's Anthony. I'm going to be your tour guide today as we lift the veil of secrecy on some of Hollywood's hottest filming locations. We have an over 400-acre movie studio to experience. We're going to get ready to say goodbye to our theme park in just a moment. Does everyone have 3D glasses? Okay, good. You're going to need them. If you do not have a pair, raise your hands nice and high in the air, or forever hold your peace, or forever hold your peace for the next hour. All right, cool. Once again, my name's Anthony. Our driver's name is Moose. Everyone say hi, Moose. Hi, Moose. Big sleigh. Moose is amazing. Without him, we'd be walking 400 acres. We're not doing that today. If you're traveling with any small children today whose feet don't quite touch the floor, move them to the center of the aisle at this time for safety. Lots of cool things to see out there. We're going to get ready to say goodbye to our theme park. Is anybody's first time taking the tour? Alright, cool. Awesome. Me too. Just kidding. But we're the only studio in the world, or the only theme park in the world that has a movie studio attached to it. And in many ways, this is the first ever Universal attraction. Without the Universal Studio Tour, we wouldn't have all the theme parks around the world. So, what you're going to experience today is where it all began. Once again, if you missed it, my name's Anthony, your driver's name is Boris. I also have a co-host who you've not met yet, but he's the star of NBC's The Tonight Show and been on Saturday Night Live with Mr. Jimmy Fallon.
You made it! Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide,
Anthony,
and the greatest drive,
Bruce.
They're the best. I love them. Even though
Anthony
owes me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
That is right, Jimmy. We do have a few safety rules to go over before we get started. First, if you need guest assistance or have a medical emergency, or drop something of value off the side of the tram or have any sound or video issues, reach up and grab the red E-cord that runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please remain seated and keep those arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Remember to use the red cord above your head if you need any assistance. The studio is private property, so if at any point during the tour you drop your phone, or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull that cord and remain seated. Please no smoking of any kind on the studio tour. That includes the use of e-cigarettes, and be prepared. The tour today does feature loud noises, sudden tram movements, fire effects, and many water effects. You'll want to have your cameras out for great photo opportunities, but keep an eye on them so they do not get wet. And finally, for your safety and the safety of those around you, no selfie sticks will on board the tram. Let's do this. We are officially saying goodbye to our theme park, and we're heading out into the heart of Hollywood, one of the oldest and busiest movie studios here in Southern California. It all started for the studio tour on March 15th, 1915. That's when our founder, Carl Laemmle, invited the public into the studio to watch silent movies being made. Back then, guests could walk from set to set and marvel at all the technology involved in filmmaking. But once sound was invented, because all that was during the sound and film era, once sound was invented, we had to cut the tour. There was no more tour until the 1960s. It was revived under the leadership of Lou Wasserman, executives Outdoorskin, and Jay Stein. And believe it or not, Universal is in fact a real city. And like real cities, we have a fire station. On the right-hand side, that is our fire station, not a set, fully functional real fire station. We've also got our own sheriff's department, medical personnel. We've also got a zip code. We've got 3 Starbucks. We've got a Raising Cane's now. We've got a Slice House. I mean, listen, we have everything you need to be a successful city. But the only difference between our city and the one you live in is we have no actual residents. We're a city entirely dedicated to making movies. On the right, you'll see some movie posters of over 8,000 things that are filmed here. So think commercials, TV shows, competition shows, anything. You name it, you can do it here at the studio. Our studio is broken up into 2 parts, the front lot and the back lot. We're going to go to the front lot first. The front lot houses the majority of Universal's 40 sound stages. So a sound stage is like a completely controllable environment that we use for filming. On the left, here's one of them, Soundstage 12, one of Universal's oldest and largest sound stages. It was used to film the first few seasons of the singing competition The Voice, and it's also been used for Frankenstein, Dracula, and Back to the Future. All these scenes were filmed in that soundstage.
Say hello to my dear friend!
The sound stages on the left-hand side have been home to many amazing shows lately, like Hacks with Emmy Award winner Gene Smart, Grand Crew with Nicole Byer, Bel Air, the dramatic retelling of The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, starring Tabari Banks and Ali Shulatin, and some classic hits like Soundstage 7 on the left. That's where Alfred Hitchcock filmed the shower scene from Psycho. On your screens, you're seeing what the inside of a soundstage looks like. That white material on the walls, that's a material called Instaquill. That's what helps our sound stages stay 98% soundproof once those doors are closed, so we can get a nice clean take for your viewing pleasure. On the left-hand side, you'll see Soundstage 14. This has been used to film many sitcoms and shows throughout the years, like the Saved by the Bell reboot, The Mindy Project, and Superstore with America Ferrera, where they turn the inside of that soundstage into Cloud 9. We've also filmed a lot of movies in that soundstage, like Ron Howard's The Thing. It was also Mount Crumpet for How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Jim Carrey. They filmed all those scenes inside of there. And if you saw the first Jurassic Park movie where the Brachiosaurus sneezed on the kids in the tree, that scene was filmed inside of that soundstage right over there. Our stages have also been used to film a lot of classic sitcoms throughout the years. Shows like Martin, The Jeffersons, Coach, One Day at a Time, Never Have I Ever, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, just to name a few of them. On your screen, you're seeing a couple more titles. We've also used our stages recently for the TED series on Peacock, which is executive produced and directed by Seth MacFarlane.
Hi everyone, Seth MacFarlane here, and I'm excited to share with you a behind-the-scenes look at my Peacock original event series, TED. It's a prequel series set in 1993. And that means our skilled craftspeople had to build a high school, a house, and even recreate downtown Boston as it looked back in the day, using exterior sets and facades that you're about to see on the tour. But I should warn you, TED is intended for mature audiences only. So grown-ups, tell the kids to go in the other room before you watch. Oh, come on!
Coming up on the left-hand side, that's Ted right there. He's toasting us. He's happy that he has 2 seasons that you can find on Peacock. Please go check it out. It is so good. It's amazing. Also on the left-hand side, behind Ted, you'll see these beige buildings right here. These are what we call bungalows. The bungalows are the bungalows used to be personal dressing rooms to what we would call a contracted star. So that would be any star who signs on to make movies exclusively with our studio. That's a little bit of a dated practice. We don't really do that anymore, but some of those stars would include Doris Day and Rock Hudson. So these would be their personal dressing rooms, or like a home away from home for them. But since we no longer contract stars, these are now some production offices to some of the biggest companies here in Hollywood. For example, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, his $7 Productions. They brought us Young Rock and Fighting with My Family. They have an office outside of here. Jordan Peele, Monkey Paw Productions. They brought us Nope, Get Out. Amy Pascal's Pascal Pictures. They're working on the Spider-Man franchise. We also have Elizabeth Banks' Brownstone Productions. They brought us Pitch Perfect. They operate in some of these bungalows right over here as well. Now, the bungalows are really an important part of the creative process because this is where we really start by putting the pen to the paper. But after you put pen to paper, on the right-hand side right over here, this is the Bud Westmore building. So this is a building where we actually create the sets by hand. So we can actually manufacture and create everything. We're one of the only studios that is entirely self-sufficient in that we can do the writing over here, we can do the set creation, the filming, and we can also bounce it back to this area right over here and do post-production, put everything together, and then we bring it to your screen. So all of that can happen right over here. Has anybody seen Wicked yet? Yeah, lots of hands. Okay, Wicked Part 1, Wicked Part 2. I love Wicked. Now that was brought to you by right over here, Mark Platt Productions. If you look all the way in the back, you're going to see their office right over there. They've also brought us Dear Evan Hansen, and they also brought us La La Land. On your screens, you're going to see a preview of Wicked Part 2 if you haven't seen it yet.
No, it's just that one road the whole time. What a touching display. Shucks. I scared you? I'm a public figure now. People expect me to thrive, be encouraging. So you see, please, where'd you get that?
PG.
If you haven't seen Wicked yet, once you get off the tram, there'll be a QR code in the tram plaza where you can scan that and get tickets to see it on Universal City Walk. On the left-hand side, another bungalow right over there. That is currently the home of the De Laurentiis Company, but you might see a familiar silhouette right over there. That is the silhouette of Mr. Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, the man who brought us Psycho, Vertigo, and The Birds, which absolutely terrorized me as a child. I thought that was the scariest movie, but it was one of the only movies that my grandparents had on VHS. And Mr. Hitchcock is known for throwing himself in some of his movies.
Good evening. My name is Alfred Hitchcock.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
You've seen the blood.
Now we're going to bounce it over. If you take a look to the right-hand side of the tram, you might see a familiar face in the window. That's you. Give a big smile and a nice wave right over here. So this right here, we don't get enough time to talk about this building enough, but this is the Johnny Carson building. So this is the building responsible for all things casting here on the back lot. You never know. You might end up a Hollywood star in the next production that we're filming back over here, but that's where all that happens. All that casting Hollywood magic happens right over here. Let's say you want to be, I don't know, an American Ninja Warrior. That's a show that films on our back lot. Well, could be you next. Or let's say So You Think You Can Dance. That's a show that's filmed here as well. That show actually filmed inside of this soundstage on your left-hand side, right over here. This is one of the only soundstages that actually can accommodate a live studio audience, which is pretty cool. Now these soundstages, the first time we ever used them was in 2016 for a Hairspray Live, which had Ariana Grande in it. She played Penny Pingleton, along stars like Jennifer Hudson. Now, these sound stages have also recently been home to St. Dennis Medical. Has anybody watched that show? It's on Peacock. I love it. It is so funny. St. Dennis Medical is a sitcom about it's a workplace sitcom about being in a hospital, starring Wendy McClendon Covey and David Allen Greer. We've also got another workplace sitcom that is going to be coming to your screens sometime soon. Our studio is going to be the home of The Paper, which is a spin-off for The Office. Here's a preview for you. Check it out.
We sell products made out of paper, toilet tissue, and local newspapers. That is in order of quality.
My name is Ned Sampson. I am your new editor-in-chief.
Have you read this paper?
Uh-huh. It sucks. We are going to make it better. I hope it's not too disruptive to have me shake everything up.
Don't be so self-deprecating.
God, not again. And speaking of sitcoms, we've also got another sitcom that is brand new. It is starring Reba McEntire. It is called Happy's Place. So she's been really busy on the backlot filming the singing competition The Voice and a show of her own.
Hey there, I'm Reba McEntire and welcome to Happy's Place. We shoot our heartfelt comedy right here on Universal Live. Now, unlike most TV shows, we are a multi-camera sitcom, meaning several cameras capture every scene from a different angle all at the same time. Each episode takes about a week to make, from the first read-through of the script to rehearsals to taping in front of a live studio audience. And let me tell you, every step is a blast. Enjoy the ride and we'll see you at Happy's Place. I'm starting to sweat. The men are the ones that's supposed to ask the women out. That hasn't been true for 30 years. I haven't dated in 30 years.
Happy's Place, Friday on NBC and Peacock.
definitely going to want to check that one out. And something that Reba McEntire mentioned in that clip, multi-cam. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that term, but that is kind of like an inside term for how productions are made. A lot of the shows that film inside of sound stages are multi-cam. So think of it like a theater, right? Whenever you go see a show, you are always looking at what's going on stage, and the actors are never actually playing to you, right? They're playing to the walls on the right and the left and things that are going on behind them, but you're what's called the fourth wall. So that's kind of how a lot of sitcoms are filmed, almost in like a theater style. Now, we're going to move away from this portion of our studio. Now, this is all part of what we call the front lot, right? And the front lot houses the majority of our sound stages, our production offices, and areas that can really do different phases of production. But sometimes it's not enough to film inside of a sound stage. Sometimes you need to bring to life the magic of like a major metropolitan city or a small town. But it's not enough to do it inside of a soundstage. So what you do is you move over to what we call the back lot, which is the home of many of our major exterior sets. And a lot of our exterior sets can dub as major metropolitan cities. So right in front of you, you see that gigantic mural of New York City. In this area right over here, we have our metropolitan sets. It's an area that's currently shut down for production, so we're not going to actually get to go down inside, but you can peek in and see a couple of our streets. This can be any major city in the world. For example, this was Chicago in the Blues Brothers. The scene when the Pinto fell and they dropped that gigantic hole in the street, that scene was filmed on the Universal backlot. If you saw the Transformers, when Shia LaBeouf ran down the street with the Allspark and all those buildings exploded behind him, this was downtown LA for that scene. Also, a lot of musical numbers can be filmed on this, like Hairspray Live. This was Baltimore for that. I know some of you took a liking to that Ted clip a little bit earlier. This was Boston in the Ted series. Also, a lot of music videos filmed out here for stars like Britney Spears, Tate McRae, Pink, Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, Chris Brown. That's our concrete jungle right over there. Also, Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield is filmed right there. And Tobey Maguire, the scene where he shows up to MJ's show on Broadway, that's that theater right over there with the Green Marquee. But we're going to move away from our concrete jungle for a moment. We're going to take a quick detour. We're going to go to the real jungle. I hope you're ready for this. But to get there, we need a little bit of help. So, here's Academy Award-winning director, Peter Jackson.
Made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and I wanted to become a filmmaker. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up in adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, just put them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
That is right, everybody. We're going to return to Skull Island in just a moment, but please, if you could take this opportunity to secure any loose items that you may have, phones, bags, small children, anything you don't want to lose inside of King Kong 360 3D. Make sure you have those 3D glasses. You're going to need them in just a moment, but I'll let you know when it's time. And please remain seated. You have a couple of minutes. Check these steps out.
We really put a lot of thought into the character and personality of Kong, and he's so much more than a monster. In fact, he's not a monster. He is an incredibly majestic, ancient creature. He's a force of nature. He's old, he's wise, he's proud, he's fierce, and obviously he has a heart. The most important feature with Kong are his eyes. Kong's eyes are wonderfully expressive. They're full of emotion. His eyes are like a window into his personality and his heart. He's had an enormous number of encounters with his foes, the T-Rexes and the various dinosaurs on Skull Island, so he's been beaten up, scarred, chewed up, spat out by these dinosaurs at various times, and he wears the scars of a lot of ancient battles. The Universal Tram is winding its way through a very rough, narrow trail in Skull Island, allowing the visitors a little sneak peek at some of the wildlife on Skull Island. In a sense, this is like a mini sequel, a mini continuation. We are just taking the Kong and Skull Island and the dinosaurs that we established in our feature film, and this is, another day, another incident on Skull Island, using the creatures and the character and personality of Kong as he appeared in the movie. Okay, glasses on, everybody. We're back to Skull Island.
King Kong 360 Congratulations, everybody. You just survived King Kong 360 3D, one of the world's largest 3D projections. All of those visual effects were actually made by Peter Jackson with help from the Weta FX team. So Weta FX, they've actually worked on movies like King Kong, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Avatar, Hunger Games, Wonder Woman, Disney's The Little Mermaid, the most recent Avatar. So we've certainly seen their work. And they presented you that attraction on screens that are 40 feet tall and 180 feet wide.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions. There's creatures coming at them. They're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know people are looking straight ahead, they're looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this, why, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts. Because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents the where the screen is 10 meters away. You're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a lot.
Now, King Kong is a really good example of what we might describe as a movie monster. While classic movie monsters were the bread and butter of Universal Studios, especially during the Great Depression, classic monsters like Dracula, the Bride of Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, just to name a few of them. And on the right-hand side of the tram, you're going to see our monster mural. This mural right over here was made entirely out of cans of spray paint by street artist Tristan Eden. It took him 3 months to complete this structure.
And an instrumental part of the process of designing these murals was getting to go to the Universal Archive. Going there, I got to see in person props from the movies, photos from behind the scenes, original illustrations from those movie posters, all this stuff. I had an early affection for movie monsters. I was always fascinated by the magic behind making movies, but I fell in love with zombie movies and monster movies as a young kid. My world that I come from is skateboarding, graffiti, and comic books. You always have to pay homage to where that art form started. And for me, it started doing stuff in the street legally. Tagging billboards and dumpsters. Without that, I never would be here using spray paint like this.
And speaking of movie monsters, on the left-hand side, that body of water right down there is actually used to film one of our many monster movies. It was used to film the creature from the Black Lagoon, the home of the Gill Man. This was the Amazon River. And also, if you look across the way, just behind that clearing right there of the bushes, you'll see another sound stage. That's currently the home of Happy's Place, starring Reba McEntire, but also partially home of the singing competition The Voice, which also had Reba McEntire in it, and Snoop Dogg most recently. So definitely want to check that out. All that film's live here on the Universal Backlot. And while we were on the topic of our monsters, we're going to visit monster territory. We're going to take a look at some of the oldest sets that we have here on the Universal Backlot. We have many major exterior cityscapes, but sometimes you don't want to use that to represent a city like London or Europe, right? Or France. Well, look no further than Little Europe, right over here. These are European sets. They were made originally during the Great Depression, and they were made for All Quiet on the Western Front, which is the first movie Universal won an Academy Award for Best Picture with. These sets were France and Germany at the same exact time for that one movie, but back in the day, these sets were a little bit larger. Now, we're one of the only studios here in Southern California to have sets that resemble Europe, and that's because of what happened during the Great Depression at that time. And because we set a lot of our monster movies here, it saved this portion of our backlot for us. So those classic stars like Frankenstein, Dracula, the Bride of Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Phantom of the Opera, all of them called this area home. But we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Now, this could be any European city in the world. It was Paris in The Muppets. It was Italy in Angels and Demons, where they did a scene where they crashed a car into the Vatican. If anybody saw Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl, on the right-hand side, this is what we call our Pirate Cove. They filmed the opening scene to Pirates of the Caribbean right over here. The scene where Captain Jack Sparrow is running away from the British Redcoats and turns into a sword-fighting sequence that was filmed right over there. Now, this street that we're currently on and driving up is actually Genovia, the fictional country from the Princess Diaries 2 royal engagement. The scene where Anne Hathaway gives Abigail Breslin the crown as Princess Mia Thermopolis. That was filmed right over here. This was also The Good Place, starring Kristen Bell and Ted Danson. This was the afterlife for that.
You, Eleanor Shellstrom, are dead.
Cool.
This is the location. The afterlife. Come on. I've never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here. I can't risk going to the bad place.
Okay, well, maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
On the right-hand side, we are passing by an area called the Court of Miracles. Believe it or not, they actually shot a commercial right over there with Sabrina Carpenter. It's called Espresso Dreams, and it was for the Olympics. So it's a lot more cost-effective for us to film that kind of stuff here on the Universal backlot. We've also used our European sets for some movie musicals, like the Rodgers and Hammerstein production of Cinderella, starring Brandy, Whitney Houston, and Whoopi Goldberg. That was filmed over here. And it's also been used for some music videos. Nicki Minaj used it to film her Turn Me On music video with David Guetta. And Michael Jackson actually used our European sets to film the very first shot of his Smooth Criminal music video. So definitely go and check that out. It's pretty cool. Now, of course, it's been the home of a lot of our classic monster movies, and I was telling you that this was the the area that saved us during the Great Depression, and I really mean that. So, at that time, every studio was having a hard time staying afloat because people really just weren't spending money to go to the movies. So, studios started to specialize in certain genres of films, things that they knew people would buy tickets to. So, like MGM, they focused on the movie musical. Warner Brothers focused on the gangster movie, and we focused on the monster movie. All those classic stories were filmed right here in this area of our backlot. Every single one of them. And it's for that reason that we're one of the only studios here in Southern California that has sets that resemble Europe. And because we are the only studio that has these sets, we oftentimes rent them to other studios. Like you may have noticed I mentioned Disney a few times for Pirates and Princess Diaries. When it comes to the creative process, we can collaborate with other studios. We're really only enemies at the box office. That's the only time you're really going to ever find us duking it out with them. But again, it's because of our movie monsters that we have sets that resemble Europe to this very day, so we love them.
So we think of monsters. Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, The Mummy, Hunchback of Notre Dame, The Invisible Man, and the opera. Classic films. It's just brilliant.
That Frankenstein image, flathead, balls.
It's one of the great icons of the world.
That to me was like the essence of the Universal horror film. I was just mesmerized by
Boris, Karloff, Lon Chaney.
I remember the original Universal Studios Mummy movie really scaring me. It's still ringing in our memories now, and we love it.
We do love them. Our monsters have so much history to them, and one of our monsters are actually very closely related to another monster, and that would be Dracula and Frankenstein, and let me tell you why. So, Dracula was made famous by Bela Lugosi. He actually played the role on Broadway before he played the role in the movie, but he was so good in the movie, they actually offered him the role of Frankenstein, or he was so good in the movie, they offered him the role of Frankenstein. So, he almost played two movie monsters for Universal at this time, but here's the thing. He's a Broadway actor, so he wanted to have a little more control over the process. So he wanted to do his own makeup. So this is him on your screens doing his own makeup. But he showed up to set on the very first day and he looked terrible. And everyone kind of laughed at him and they were like, it's not going to work. We're going to have to have a professional do your makeup. So he went ahead and he quit the production just because of that. And he said, you could hire anybody to play this role. You could even hire a background actor. So Universal went ahead and hired a then background actor. This man on your screens, Boris Karloff. He's like a 6'5", really tall gentleman. They're making a bust of him right over here. And he looked so good throughout the filming of Frankenstein. They had him walking around the back lot in a burlap sack because people were just like flabbergasted at how he looked. And they even had EMTs in the audience for the early screenings of Frankenstein because the audience reacted a lot like this. Not even kidding. People were literally passing out at the sight of him because this was like back in the day, guys, alright? We're used to like CGI and prosthetics and this, that, and the other thing, but back then this was like state of the art. This right here on your screens, this is a picture of him walking around the back lot in that burlap sack. And it all started for Boris Karloff as a background actor, but he actually went on to have a really amazing career as an actor, and he actually is the narrator for Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the animated movie. So even though you might not recognize his name or his face, you probably would recognize his voice because you probably heard his work in the last couple weeks for How the Grinch Stole Christmas. love to tell that story because really right place, right time, anybody can become a Hollywood star. And I know a lot of you are traveling from out of town, so I'd love to share that with you. At this time, I do want to let you know we're approximately at the halfway mark of the tour. We will be returning to the theme park shortly, so if you have an emergency, reach out, grab me ready for it. I'll be back to assist you. And we were just talking about right place, right time, you can become a Hollywood star, right? Well, guess what? It's the right place, it's the right time. We're going inside of a sound stage. We're going inside a sound stage 50. Soundstage 50 is an example of what we call a hot set. That means it's all dressed and ready to go for production. The only thing we're missing is our lead actors, which is going to be all of you today. Congratulations, you're going to live your Hollywood fantasy. I hope you're ready. Lights, camera, action. What was that? The big one! Earthquake, the big one, is an attraction that was made to replicate a 4.2 earthquake on the Richter scale, made with inspiration from Universal's 1974 movie Earthquake. The song has nothing to do with anything, I just like the song. In 1975, just 1 year after Earthquake was released, Universal released another monster movie. Took place at Amity Island. Any guesses? We're gonna go to the beach. Let's go get away. We're going to Jaws territory, folks. Welcome to Amity, where every day is like the 4th of July. Now, I know. Amity Island, they are known for having a shark problem, but they totally don't anymore. They caught the shark. It's all good. We're going to go for a swim, and wait a minute. Oh my gosh, another shark. I cannot believe this. Here in Amity, I never. All right, stay calm. The police are here on the scene. That's our police diver in the water. His name is Pete. Let me let him know there's a shark. Pete! There's a shark! Pete? Oh, for Pete's sake. It's not looking too good for Pete. They want us to clear the area. We're gonna hide. We're gonna hide behind these very flammable gasoline tanks. It's really all I got right now. I'm just a tour guide. I'm trying to keep you guys safe. My expertise are in movies. I'm not good at running away from sharks. Jaws, everybody. The hardest working shark in all of Hollywood. Here to tell you about how the Jaws attraction came to the Universal backlot, here's Steven Spielberg.
The Jaws ride was almost the inevitable result of the size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal that were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the tram. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on the Universal lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created.
Moving away from Amity Island, we are now in Old Mexico. Old Mexico is home to a weather simulation. We're going to show you how we bring on-screen rainstorms to life using strobe lights, speakers, and a little bit of rain. The rain is coming from a super high-tech sprinkler system. It's a sprinkler system. It's not that crazy. But our sprinkler system allows us to control the size of the raindrops to make the water more visible to the camera. Rain is actually really hard to capture on film since the raindrops are too small, so we make them bigger. And when you're bringing on-screen rainstorms to life and you're doing anything in film, control is really the name of the game. So as easily as we turn that storm off, or turn it on, we can turn it off. Ready? So 1, 2, 3, and stop. I said stop! No! We're creating a flash flood! You've seen the flash flood in Lady Gaga's music video for her song Judas. You've also seen it in Big Fat Liar, starring Paul Giamatti, Amanda Bynes, and Frankie Muniz.
You can't outrun a wolf, kid! You never supposed to be about that.
And the rest of Old Mexico, which is where we are right now, you've seen it in Nacho Libre with Jack Black. That's Jack Black's house right over there. House with the crucifix on it. This was also used for Star Trek Picard, Pirates of the Caribbean, an episode of ER. This post is Africa for that. They also used the rest of these sets for Lady Gaga's video for Judas. And it was also used for Janet Jackson, her song Escapade, filmed its music video right there. And Old Mexico is actually connected to the Old West, or as we call it, 6 Points. 6 Points gets its name from its 6 distinct streets. Each of them, during the silent film era, were used to film its own movie. Each of them had their own bank and its own saloon there. So each street can pose as its own town in its own silent western film. And they could literally have 6 cameras rolling at the same exact time because they weren't recording any sound back in the day. The origins of these sets actually date back to the teens. But more recently, you have seen these sets in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. They filmed about 45 minutes of that movie here on our 6 Point sets. You've also seen these sets in Jessica Simpson's music video for These Boots Are Made for Walking. Steven Spielberg's rendition of The Color Purple was filmed here. If anybody watched Quantum Leap, the original show, or the reboot, both of them filmed on this set, so that's pretty cool. And over 100 feature-length Western films. Now take a look at the doors on the right-hand side. Notice that they're all different sizes. I just want you to see that. They're all different sizes. So the doors are like that on purpose. And that's because during the silent film era, we relied really heavily on visual cues. So we would put everybody in front of the really tall doors except the cowboys. The cowboys were going to go in front of the really short doors, and that's because that would make them look a lot bigger on screen. So it would help us establish a larger-than-life persona for our cowboys, because back then we weren't delivering any dialogue, so it was the only way for us to decipher to the audience who the good guys and who the bad guys were. And in the early days of the studio tour, it literally used to only cost 25 cents to come back here and watch us film silent westerns in real time. You could literally stand right next to the set, cheer the good guys and boo the bad guys in real time, and get a box lunch with that. That was kind of like the origins of the studio tour. But now, you get to ride the tram, and you never know what you're going to see here on the World View of the studio tour. Love to talk about that. It's my favorite thing. Now, we're going to venture back through our Amity Island set once more, and Jaws was actually filmed off the coast of Martha's Vineyard, so we did not film Jaws here. This was brought here for the Jaws portion of the tour, but we do actually film things here. This was used to film some scenes from Key and Peele, some sketches, and it was also used to film a scene from The Good Place, and it's also Cabot Cove, Maine from Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury. Check out this house at the top of the hill. This is best known as the Chicken Ranch, made famous in the best little whorehouse in Texas starring Dolly Parton, where she famously sang, "I Will Always Love You." It was also used as Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses, and it was also used as LMFAO's house for Sorry for Party Rocking, when they party rock too hard in that house. We're going to drive through a whole neighborhood of homes that we have here on the back lot. We call this Colonial Street, and that's because all of these homes are colonial style, but we also say it's anywhere USA, because nothing indicates when or where or time period, so it's anywhere in the US at any time. This lilac house on the left, 1313 Mockingbird Lane from the Munsters. This yellow house was Davey's house from Never Have I Ever on Netflix. This gray house, you may have seen it in Cocaine Bear, but you've also seen it in the final episode of Superstore. And the neighborhood, the whole street, was from all 8 seasons of ABC's Desperate Housewives. You're on Wisteria Lane, everybody. Now, we'll film in houses on the back lot because it's a lot easier and a lot more convenient for production. For example, during all 8 seasons of Desperate Housewives, we blew a house up, burnt a house down, crashed a car through the front door, we put a plane in the middle of the street right here. And these are things that we could do in a real neighborhood, but that's really like a disruption to the way of life, so we try to do it in neighborhoods on the back lot where we don't have to disrupt anybody trying to live their lives. On the left, this like grayish, or it's like a grayish brown house right here. That was used in many Ace Hardware commercials. If you like Google it, just Ace Hardware commercial, you'll see that house. This blue house right over here was actually used in the 10 series. This is Boston for that. This is what it looks like. It was a different color. Let the festivities begin. How many we got? Let's see. We got 20 cartons. Fantastic. Do you think we're getting too old for this?
Come on, Johnny, we're doing a public service here. If a kid leaves the house in a less than stellar Halloween costume, he's got to get the bad news before he makes a fool of himself all over town. Where's the millions?
You've also seen that same street in the Smash Mouth music video for their song All Star. It was used for Nancy Drew, Casper the Friendly Ghost, and Nelly and Kelly Rowland's music video for their song Dilemma. No matter what I do, all I think about is you. And this is it in Wisteria Lane.
It's a good name. Let's do that.
Shortly, so if you have an emergency, reach out and grab that ready E-cord, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe Now, we saw a lot of sets, a lot of sound stages. You know what we haven't seen? Any cars, any parking lots. But we have one here on the back lot, that's right, full of what's called picture cars. These are vehicles that we've used throughout the making of many iconic movies throughout the years. Take a look to either side and you'll see some amazing cars, like the Magnum PI Ferrari, the Jurassic World Gyrosphere, Jurassic Park Jeep, the Ford Anglia from Harry Potter all the way in the back, cars from Back to the Future, the Flintstones, Fast and Furious, that's Dominic Toretto's Black Charger, Paul Walker's Nissan Skyline, and Bumblebee on the left. Now, I know a lot of you are traveling from out of town. I don't know if you found any accommodations or found a place to stay, but if you haven't, I got the place for you. The Bates Motel from Albert Hitchcock's Psycho. I hear the owner, he's a good guy, he likes his mom, but this place is known for having 12 vacancies at any given time. There's Norman. Oh my gosh. Hey, Norman. How you doing? Listen, I know you got 12 vacancies. I have like 174 people on the tram. I know it's going to be a tight squeeze. Can we make this work? What do you think? I hope that was a yes. We're going to need extra towels if you... Oh my gosh, he is the best. He's escorting that woman to her car. I guess he's just clearing out the rooms for us. Everything looks okay if you ask me. Right? No, not okay. Not good. Not good. Staying at the Bates Motel. Maybe we could stay at the original Psycho house coming up on the left-hand side. This is the original structure from the original films. Check it out. In all her glory, right over here. This is arguably one of the most iconic sets here on the back lot. She still stands to this very day. But as we pass by one of the most iconic, we're also going to see one of the most impressive. This is the largest practical set that we have on the back lot. A practical set means it's made out of very real items. This is made out of 100% real 747 aircraft. This is a real plane. That was a decommissioned flight, so a lot of flights, once they reach a certain amount of mileage, they are retired. So it was in a plane graveyard in the Mojave Desert. It was purchased by production for Steven Spielberg's 2005 movie, War of the Worlds. Here to tell you about it, we have Spielberg and set designer Rick Carter.
The airplane press site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around a vision that Steven had. And for, again, to sit down and talk about War of the World, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing great. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Get them closed. Robbie, get in. Get in.
War of the Worlds tells the story of an alien invasion right here on planet Earth. And Steven Spielberg is gearing up to release another movie about aliens on Earth, coming out summer 2026. The trailer actually just dropped. I believe it is called... All will be disclosed. There it is. And we actually have another set here on the back lot, dedicated to an alien invasion. We're going to Jupiter's Claim, the small town amusement park from Jordan Peele's recent sci-fi thriller, Nope.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, the nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky G. Park. Over there, look into the winking well and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie animated show. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? But a little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy, gold rush frontier town, lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of the world's hotspot. What's a bad miracle? You're about to find out. Welcome to the world of the
next, you're going to have to see Nope. It's currently on Amazon Prime, and it was made with some of the most advanced technology that we have in filmmaking today, and it uses a lot of computer-generated imaging. Coming up on the right-hand side, you're going to see an area that is entirely dedicated to computer-generated imaging, that gigantic blue wall. That is the world's largest freestanding blue wall dedicated to CGI. In front of it, there's a gigantic concrete basin. That basin is used to be filled with thousands of gallons of water, and it's used for a lot of underwater sequences. For example, all these scenes on your screens. We use computer-generated imaging to change the background, and we put things in front of the wall. For Sully with Tom Hanks, that blue wall was the Hudson River. Now, we've also used it for music videos for pop stars like Beyonce, her Formation video filmed there. Harry Styles filmed his song Falling. It was used for The Revenge of Jaws, Apollo 13, and many more projects. It was also used for the Hunger Games, the cornucopia scene when they enter the quarter quell in the second movie. All those things were filmed right over there. Here on the back lot, we can do absolutely anything. Anything is possible. And for over 100 years, Universal Studios has been thrilling audiences around the globe by making them laugh, cry, and sit on the edge of their seats. And we are nearing the end of the world-famous studio tour, and we're going to have you back to the theme park in just a moment. Make sure you download the Universal Studios Hollywood app, where you can see wait times for all of our attractions, show times for the Whoville shows, and the Water World allow to see more spectacular mobile food ordering, merchandise sales, and so much more. To purchase any of the movies you saw on our tour today, visit www.uphe.com or visit one of our retail stores. Once you get off the tram, make sure you check out the digital directory where you can find out how to upgrade your day ticket to an annual pass so you can come back again and again. You'll also find me hanging out under the digital directory if anyone wants to ask any questions or just wants to say hello. Also, when you get off the tram, you'll find a QR code so you can get tickets for Wicked for Good, currently in theaters, and you can watch it at our very own Universal City Walk. We'll have you back to the theme park in just a moment. Thank you so much for joining us here on the world-famous studio tour. Make sure you grab your 3D glasses and you'll return them to the buckets outside of the tram. Grab all your personal belongings. And on behalf of all of us here at Universal Studios Hollywood, my name is Anthony. I was your tour guide today. Your driver's name is Moose. I hope you've enjoyed your exclusive look into the Hollywood experience, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here at Universal Studios Hollywood, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your time.